I mean, love Dingy. Me love Dingy. Me love Dingy, but Dingy gonna hell. Dingy not they know we no known chone. I know some people gonna heaven. Lord of mercy can't nothing Lord of mercy Dingy never say. I'm saying to us we have to know where we are doing and say people need to repent. Dingy never repent. Dingy gonna hell we are. And I that me ball for.
Alright, so first I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakodash. And I mean, I just want to say double honors to the apostles and elders of James Stone and to Joachim out there just pushing this truth. Shalom, this is Brother Kanan here with a quick lesson. I want to make this one real quick and fast. Now, this lady on the screen here, speaking of maybe a family member or a friend or something, that would have someone who have passed, you know what I mean? And she's saying that's not how you get to heaven, and that same person who she calls Bingy basically gone to hell anywhere, you know what I mean? And this is this is misinformation, misunderstanding. This is just things that we would have been taught as kids growing up, which are fables, which are not factual according to the Bible. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to guide, to highlight the truth according to the Bible. All right? So she said this is not how you get to heaven. And again, a lot of people have misconception or misunderstanding of what heaven really is. You know what I mean? Now, when the Bible speaks of heaven, there are multiple heavens. You know what I mean? Heaven really just means that pertaining to the waters, which means above, really. So it goes up to the third heaven, which Paul speaks of, which I'm not going to get that. No. You know what I mean? But when the Bible speaks of heaven, the fourth dimension, or where the Lord, well, in the spiritual realm, you know what I mean, there's one way to get there. And then the Bible speaks of heaven, as in the kingdom of heaven being on earth, that is a different thing. Now, how do you get to the spiritual realm, heaven, that many people desire to go? Which again, that is not the real aim or destination for us being on earth. That's not what we're here for. We are here to have heaven on earth. That is why we are here. But let me get into the scriptures really quick. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and I'm going to go to verse 7. It says, "Then shall the dust return to the earth, right, as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God, Yahweh, who gave it. So your flesh, which is from the earth, goes back to the earth. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Flesh go back to the ground. And the spirit that is within you, which is the true you, it goes back to the power, which is God, which is in heaven, the spiritual realm, who gave it." No, the Bible also gives you a little understanding of what happened in that situation. I'm going to get it real quick. Right, like I said, I'm trying to make this video real quick and to the point, so someone who was the year to year can hear and understand. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 1. This is what Paul says: "For we know that if our earthly house," the one that goes to the ashes, the dust to dust, right? "For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved," meaning it died, "we have a building of God Yahweh, an house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens," the spiritual realm. You have a spiritual body and you have a carnal body. You come on earth and you live in that carnal body. That's what it basically means. Live. Abode or abode, which means to live, right? Now, that's your body, right? And the spirit leave that body, which is what they call death, and then it goes to another body, which is in the heavens. This is the process. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The spirit goes back to where it comes from. Let's continue, right? So it says, "We have a building of Yahweh, an house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. For in this we groan," this physical body, "earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven. If so be that being clothed we shall not be found naked," right? "For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life." Now let me get to some other precept. Not gonna make them long again, like I said. So when you leave this flesh, you go to a spiritual body, which is in the heavens. Alright? Now let me give you an example of that. This is Job 3, and let's start from verse 11. Right? So it says, why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? So let's put this in perspective. Job is basically saying, yo, he's basically cursing the day. Yo, why am I never just dead from before my born or before my mother let me out? And that's what Job is basically doing, because he's going through his tribulation. And that's what you come here on earth to do. Be judged. Right? Let's move on. It says, why did the knees prevent me? This is verse 12. Why did the knees prevent me, or why the breasts that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept. Then had I been at rest. What do we call rest? When you die, rest in peace, R.I.P. That's why every person that dies, they put R.I.P. to them, because they are going back to their rest. And I mean, let me continue. It says, with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as an hidden untimely birth, I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked sees where the rest is. The wicked sees there. So the wicked is also there in that rest. It doesn't matter what they do on earth. The cycle of life continues. You know what I mean? One generation pass it, another generation come. You come on earth, you live, then it's time for you to go. You go back to the heavens. It's a cycle. It's a generation. It's a continuation of you coming and reincarnating over and over. Now, I'm not going to try to trigger anyone. No, but, you know what I mean? It's a cycle, right? Let's continue. It says, there the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. Rest in peace again. There the prisoners rest together. R.I.P. There they hear not the voice of the oppressors. Even though the oppressors is there, they're not there oppressing. Right? The small and the great are there, and the servants is free from his master. So when you're there, you are no longer, just like in Jamaica now, we are servants to people. When you die and you go to the heavens, the spiritual realm, right? The servants and the masters are there, but they are not in that oppressive state. Again, they are free, they are at rest, right? Where was I? Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death. Again, to speak about death. But it cometh not, and dig for it more than for it treasures. Right? So when you die, that's where you go into peace, which is why the scriptures say when someone is born, is supposed to mourn, and when they die, you basically celebrate. Now I get that. No, neither. Because I don't want to make the video long. I want to make it to the point and as informative as best as possible, right? Let me see if I can find another precept that it homes. Let me get that real quick. Right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, right? So I'm there. Let me find that one real quick. All right. Alright, so 3 and verse 16. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so Ecclesiastes 3 verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Right? Now, why am I bringing out this? Because the place of wickedness is under the sun. And the place of righteousness as well is also under the sun. So here is where you come, and I mean, to be judged and also to enjoy life. This is where you come in flesh, where you can feel pain, where you can have hunger, desire, and thirst, and be fulfilled with all these things, which is why it's pleasurable to be here. When you go back to the heavens, like Yahushua said to his disciples, when you go, or what he said, when you're in the heaven, you're not given in marriage, but are like as the angels, because again, you're coming from that state in that spiritual body here on earth in a physical carnal body. All right. So you don't enjoy the pleasures of life in the heavens. You come on earth to have heaven on earth, meaning you're here to be in paradise having pleasure in a righteous state. But of course, if that is not taking place, then judgment comes, and then what? Wages of death, wages of sin is what? Death. So we die. We go back into the cycle. All right. I'm gonna read one last precept, and I mean, some people gonna say, okay, then if there's an heaven, then there must be an hell. Yeah, you're right to some extent. Heaven and hell do exist, but not like how you basically put it. It's not a place where you're going to go with a three-teeth fat man, basically, fire and you burn forever and ever and ever. That is Greek mythology. That's fables, that's story, made up stories. You know what I mean? When the Bible speaks of hell per se, it's speaking of basically being in a difficult state, going through struggles and all these type of thing. I can give an example. Jonah was in the fish belly, the big fish belly, and I mean, and he was described as being in hell, and I mean, now Israel was reigning or ruling the earth. Then Israel fall from that glorious state, and they were thrown down into hell, meaning in a difficult state, going through captivity, being sufferers, all these things. Let me just read it real quick and then kind of wrap it up, right? And this is Lamentations 2 and verse 1. How hath the Lord covered the daughters of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven, state of rulership, unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. And I mean, so that is one example to show you that being cast down from your rulership and being brought down to the lower level as servants and sufferers, basically, that is also a hell. So we're in hell right now. All right, let me see if I can just get the Job, not the Job, the Jonah real quick. So let's bear me. I know, really try not to make the video long. Didn't plan to go into that, right? But let's see. All right. All right. So the tester, I was there, but I'm not go search for that. But Jonah basically was in the fish belly for 3 days, basically, and he was described as him being in hell. So again, a quick lesson. Didn't want to make it less lesser than this, but again, hope it is edifying. Hope someone can listen to the video. That's you Negroes. I think it's the Native Americans predominantly, the true Israelites. That's who we made the elect of amongst you. We made these videos for. You know what I mean? So hopefully, again, someone is edified. With that, I give all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yoshai, Bashem Rakakodash, and Shalom to you, Akim out there.